The Sanity Clause by Malcolm Dixon. They were an hour into this now, and it wasn't going well. "I don't know, sweetie, not for sure," he heard himself saying. "I don't know every last single teeny tiny detail about it all." He looked around the room, shaking his head in exasperation, though he'd really tried his best not to sound exasperated. "Do be patient, Joe," his wife had said. "Remember, she's only 7. He may as well have been talking to himself, or to the empty room. Except it wasn't empty. The crumpled heap of bedclothes to which he had just confessed the limitations of his knowledge made a quick, sulky movement in response, like a test explosion under the covers, then was still again. More exasperation. He really did feel very tired now, after a full day at the office, and acutely aware of how the wooden play chair was cutting into the small of his back. This had gone on long enough. He stood up, strode towards the door, but then, thinking better of it, relented in the doorway and returned to the chair. He sat down, staring around the room as he collected his thoughts. With a sinking heart, he realized how everything his eyes fell on conspired against him. Magical rainbow land bears of every hue lined the wall alongside the bed. Posters of weather fairies rebuked him from the pink and purple walls, not to mention the bookshelf full of their favourite bedtime stories. Oz, Narnia, Wonderland. Yes, guilty. He'd breathed life into her make-believe world, only to have it come crashing down today at school as one big, fat lie. He was a big, fat liar. A betrayer. Official. "Come on, sweetie," he said, as kindly as he could. "Those bigger girls, they want to spoil things for you because they can't enjoy them anymore. Doesn't make them right." Again, nothing. Not at first. But as he was wondering how he could expect her to trust him once more, her face peered out from under the covers, a development which, despite the unforgiving expression, his heart took as a positive sign. Encouraged, he tried again. "Sweetie, I wouldn't lie to you for the world. Not for all the tea in the hot China Sea. Not—" "All right, Daddy," she interrupted. "If there really is a Santa, how does he get into a new house like Amber Collins's? They don't even have a chimney." Her eyes were fixed on his. "Well," he said, "I don't know about that. I don't. And, okay, how does Santa fly to every house in the world in just one night? Chloe says that's millions of houses every minute." Her eyes, reddened from the crying, reminded him so much of her mother's. Blue, clear, critical. Evading her stare again, he considered how lame it would sound if he simply proposed magic at this point. Luckily, he had enough sense to realise they were coming to an understanding of the limitations of magic. Still, he had to say something. "What?" "You're right, sweetie. There's no Santa. And every adult, but especially me, has lied to you from day one. If the magical Rainbow Land bears had any inspiration for him now, the bastards were keeping it to themselves." "Look, sweetie, I don't know the mechanics of it all. Like, if there is an old guy in a red suit called Santa or not. Not been up to the North Pole to check lately." He paused, to check what effect his words were having. At least she was listening now, not sobbing. But whether he flies over everyone's houses and puts them there himself, or whether he inspires all the mummies and daddies to do it for him in his name, presents do appear in stockings and under the Christmas trees, everywhere, in that one night. Now, if that isn't magic, I don't know what is. She was sitting up now, hugging her knees. He stroked her back. If you want to know the truth, I believe in Santa. I really do. She looked at his face. I do. Maybe not everyone can. Maybe those girls in school get involved in other stuff and forget how to believe. That happens. I've seen it. But I see how happy we all are on Christmas morning. Everyone is. And I think, however it happens, here it is. She let loose a long, phlegmy sniffle. He passed her a tissue. Does that help? I don't know if there is a Santa, up there at the North Pole in a red suit and everything. But somehow, every Christmas, the magic happens. That has to count for something. You see what I mean? So, does that make it all better? She was blowing her nose, but nodding. Like him, a believer who wanted to believe in something. Come on, it's late. He took the crumpled tissue from her. Lie down now. I'll read you a story. You choose which, okay? I want to believe. The ironic mantra of the age. He was staring out of the round attic window at the cold, coal-black night sky. No moon, no stars, the dark silhouette of the tower on the summit of Prospect Hill barely visible. What did he believe in? Really? His family. That's what kept him going last year when he was falling apart. All that terrible time. Friends? Maybe there was one who hadn't failed him at some critical moment over the years, but he couldn't think who. His parents, both long dead. Sister, long forgotten. Nope. There was just his family. And himself. He recognised some quality in himself that wouldn't stay down, some reboot mechanism that kicked in, even in depths of the darkest black. All that he'd said tonight, some part of him really believed it. You get so jaded, you forget how strange, how magical the world is. There had to be something more. Despite how awful everything seemed most of the time, he had to believe that.